Welcome back to the next topic. It is commonly confused words in English. So now our topic is on commonly confused words. What are these commonly confused words and why we have to discuss this topic? Right. So when it comes to English language, we the people who actually make a lot of mistakes when we are writing and when we are speaking to. And even sometimes, if I'm not mistaken, when we are watching an English film, we happen to notice certain vocabulary, certain words. So then what happens here? We try to take that the meaning particular in the particular context, but it is going to differ because some English words are seems to be same, but they're going to give different meaning because of one letter which has changed in that particular word. For example, you might be knowing what is the meaning of jail, right? And there is a similar word which pronounced the same and has the same almost nearly has the same spelling, but one letter has been changed here. In the first word, duel, e is the same, and when it comes to dual, so in the place of e, here we wrote a. So because of that, the meaning of this word going to be changed. For example, duel means that we actually knew to this duel means fight or clash. This is the meaning of it. And we the people, what happens most of the times in English movies, they use this word. There is a duel between the confederator and another person. That is how they speak. And what we understand is this. So that is the reason we're going to miss the flavor of that English film. That is the reason we are not sometimes we are not going to understand what they're actually talking about. So we the people who are supposed to be very careful when it comes to usage of these words, and we call them as commonly confused words. And we actually named when people are getting confused to these type of words, we call them as malapropism. Malapropism. We call it as a malapropism. So malapropism is nothing but incorrect use of words. Incorrect use of words. That is what actually. Because words confuse us, usually have similar spellings, but have different meanings. That is what. So that is the reason we actually get confused whenever we speak, whenever we write in English. But we, the BTech students, have to be very careful what the word that we are actually writing, what the spelling that we are actually going after. Because one letter has changed the entire meaning of this one. See here. So this is what the actual context that we have to understand. DUAL is the context that we have to understand, which talks about the which talks about the fight or a clash. But what we are trying to understand is this duel, DUEL. So this is when we are trying to understand the meaning of these two words, we have to be in the position to understand that these two words are completely different. So there are too many words which actually confuse us. There are too many words which actually confuse us in English language. Let's see a few of them. For example, current, 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 current. Can you guess what would be the meaning of these two words? Yeah. So current, current means dried grape, dried grape. I guess if you have the habit of eating grapes, you might be knowing this one. So we call dried grape as currant, currant. This A is actually placed. And when it comes to this current, current means, what does it mean? Which is happening now. Which is happening now. The present situation, the present. See here, we just changed only one letter, here and here. The entire meaning got changed. Isn't that or not? So we the people who are supposed to be careful when it comes to these type of words. And next one, staff, S-T-A-F-F, staff, and S-T-A-F-F, staff. What did you understand I'm saying to them? Most of the people, what they do think staff means an employee of an organization. So in one context, we're going to say employee of an organization, right? But in another form, we're going to say staff means stick. Normally, these staffs can be seen. This is how the R seems to be. So most of the times we can see them. Mostly we can see them in the hands of the shepherds, sheep shepherds. They actually carry these staffs. So we the people who are supposed to be careful when it comes to these type of words. And next, allowed, A-L-O-U-D. One is allowed, another one is allowed, A-L-L-O-W-E-D. There is a lot of difference between these allowed and allowed. Allowed means out loud, loud out. And next, allowed, A-O-O-W-E-D. Allowed means permitted or permit. This is what actually means. So what we have to understand, which one they pronounce, the speaker, depends on the situation, depends on the situation that he has used. So make sure whenever we are talking about the sound and all, we're going to use this one. When we are talking about the permissions kind of thing, and we're going to use this word. So when we are familiar with this type of words, we don't get confused when it comes to the usage of these words. And next one, story and story. S-T-O-R-E-Y, story. S-T-O-R-Y, story. I guess most of you might have familiar with this one, story, because we are good at telling stories. But nobody knows, if I'm not wrong, most of you are not aware of this one, S-T-O-R-E-Y. S-T-O-R-E-Y is nothing but, story means level of building. Level of a building or an apartment. Story means tale. This is what. So we the people who are supposed to be very careful when it comes to the usage of these words, right? And next one. The last one we're going to see, and then we're going to discuss more in detail after this. One is palette, P-A-L-E-T, palette. Another one is palette, P-A-L-L, P-A-L-E-T-T, palette. This palette means roof of, the mouth. And this palette is nothing but a board for color mixing, mixing the color. This is how the meanings will be changed according to their context. So we the people who are supposed to be careful when it comes to the usage of these words. Got it? So we are not supposed to get confused when you go through this type of words. As we are learning language, as we are learning English as a foreign language, even we have to aware of these confused words. This is what is all about, the topic commonly confused words. Let's see more in detail about this topic.
Welcome back. As I have told you the importance of these commonly confused words, and in this slide, we're going to discuss more about these commonly confused words. So where we actually confuse, and I'm going to tell you some interesting facts that what we actually call when we actually get confused with the words, because there is a specific word which is actually used whenever we get confused with English words, especially. And later we're going to discuss a few commonly confused words in our daily life that we actually use, and followed by we're going to have a small exercise. So with that, we're going to conclude our talk, and let's see what commonly confused words is all about. See here, as you are seeing the title, what are these commonly confused words? See, most of us are actually making mistakes when we speak or when we write. We wrongly use the words because sometimes we we may think this word may be suitable, but that word is not going to be suitable because whenever we are writing in English, make sure we the people supposed to be very careful with the spellings. If you change one letter in a word, if you change one letter in a word, the entire meaning of the sentence that you wanted to convey will be changed. The entire sentence of the meaning that you wanted to no note that you wanted to convey is completely going to be changed. Why is this happening? Because we, the people who are non-native speakers of English, still we are learning the language, and there is a chance to make a mistake. But you, the people, you being a BTech student, you should not make certain mistakes. You have to be we have to be very perfect when it comes to writing, and you have to be more perfect when it comes to speaking too. And of course, in speaking, okay, we can manage, but when it comes to writing, we the one who's going to make mistakes. And see here, that is what we are actually saying. So when writing English is to wrongly use a word that is similar to another word but means something completely different, because the meaning of that completely going to be different, the meaning of that completely going to be changed. And we the one who's supposed to be very careful when it comes to certain types of things. And as I have told you, whenever we are getting confused with the words, or whenever we are using the incorrect uses of words, we call them as malapropism. If we are getting confused, or if we are keep on using incorrect use of words and you take it for granted, we call that one as malapropism. What is this malapropism? Malapropism is a term used to refer to the incorrect use of words. If anybody is using, or if anybody is actually facing a problem, when it comes to incorrect use of words, we call that he has malapropism problem, or he's facing malapropism. That means here we are unable to write the exact word. Instead, we are using incorrect words. So we the people who are supposed to be. And see here, let me give you an example. Sir, what you been telling about these confused words? Most of the people do not know the difference between beside and besides. Are you getting? Most of the people do not know the difference between beside and besides. They consider both of them are same, or some of them thinking, some of the people or some of the students are thinking besides would be the plural form of beside. But this is how the fonda is actually going on. Beside is completely different than besides. Besides is completely different than the beside. Beside means next to. What is next to me? My next to me is, so I sat beside my study chair, my study table. Where I sat beside my study table. Beside means here, which is next to me, by the side of. And we the people making a mistake over here. And second example, if you observe, besides means in addition to, having more than one qualification, or having more than one in addition to. Let's see an example. I play cricket, volleyball. I play cricket, volleyball, besides chess. I not only play volleyball and cricket, but I also play chess. See here, when it comes to the usage of this one, matters a lot. If you are placing beside in the place of, if you are placing beside in the place of besides, the entire meaning going to be changed. In the first sentence, if you are placing besides in the place of beside, entirely the meaning is going to be changed. I sat besides the study table. Is that the way you're going to tell? No, absolutely wrong. That means here we have this malapropism issue. We have this malapropism problem there. So we, the people, being a BTech student, we have to overcome this one. You take it for granted, you must overcome this problem. And most of the times, where we actually get confused, what actually make us more confusing are is nothing but when the words are having similar spellings and are having similar pronunciations. Where when they have similar spellings and similar pronunciations. Where in terms of pronunciations, if I'm not mistaken, we discussed the topic called we discussed the topic called what is that? The homonyms, homophones, homographs. There we have seen, there we have noticed, there we have observed the different types of pronunciations and their meanings. And also there is one more problem when we are learning English, that is now we're facing a problem with the similar spellings, and we the people supposed to be very careful when it comes to certain things. And you the one being a BTech student should get rid of this problem. Let's see some of the words which are actually confuse us more in our life or in our English speaking history. So I gave there's a few words. Let's see, and we're going to see their meaning, and as well as as a trial part I gave an example too. So let's see what it actually means and what it actually conveys, right? So the first word, the first two words are adverse and averse. I'm not exactly sure if whether you use these words or not when you write or when you speak. But I'm telling you one thing: if you ever happen to watch an English film, or if you ever happen to encounter a native speaker of English, and this is where you're going to get confused. Did he use averse or adverse? What is the meaning of adverse and what is the meaning of averse? Let's see. Adverse means not good or not favorable. It doesn't mean that it's not good or not favorable. And averse means not to be inclined to do something, that we are not actually interested. It doesn't mean that. And let's see here. The match has been cancelled because of adverse weather conditions. Why the match actually got cancelled? Because of the bad weather. And we people actually say bad weather. We love to use bad weather. It is not. Why are you using bad weather every time? Why don't you place adverse over there? Adverse doesn't mean that it's not a good. Not good means a bad weather, not unfavorable weather. So that is how it actually goes. Make sure what you're using. Averse means not interested in something. Few politicians are averse to appearing on television. Some of them don't like. They're not interested to appear before the television. And see, a lot of differences here. Adverse. Only one letter has changed. In the first word you have D. In the second word you do not have a D. Make sure how people are pronouncing and what they wanted to convey. Is he saying adverse? Is he saying adverse, or is he saying averse? Adverse, if he is saying that we are not having a good thing, and averse is nothing but I'm not interested. I'm completely averse of this one. I'm not interested of this one. As simple. That is how it has to go. And second one, we people used a lot, but make sure most of people, some of them are actually writing ADVISC in the place of ADVIC, and some of us are actually writing ADVISC in the place of ADVIC. And we the people who are supposed to be careful when we are writing this. Which advice you are writing? Are you writing ADVICE or are you writing ADVISC? Make sure if you are writing any one of these, you're going to make a mistake. You have to use this one according to the context, my dear. According to the context, you're the one who's supposed to write. Advice, ADVIC means what? An opinion. It's an opinion. Mary gave me some good advice. As simple as over. So she gave me an opinion. That's it. Advise, ADVISC. What does it mean? If you're using that as a verb, You have to tell someone what you think they do. The doctor advised him against smoking. What doctor is telling? He's telling something that he must stop the smoking. As simple. See here, only one letter has changed in the both words, made a lot of change. And we the one who's supposed to be in the position to understand the concept over here and make sure which advice that you are using. You gotcha? Right. The next one is here. A prize and a prize. A prize. A prize. A praise. See here, we the people supposed to be careful. That one, first one is actually pronounced as a praise. And the second one actually pronounced as a prize. Even pronunciation matters a lot. And when I pronounced in the beginning, a prize and a prize, I don't think that some of you might have got that. So that's the reason I'm doing